What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Appreciate all the love and the new subscribers. If this is your first time tuning in, kick back, relax, and come take a ride with your boy. Now, I came across an interesting way too early poll, a top 10 released on women's college basketball, giving a little preview of next season with so much star power still returning to the college game. South Carolina remains on top, the undefeated champions. Actually, the scariest part about this whole list is they have a chance to be even better next year. I know there's been a lot of movement in the transfer portal, but I'm still taking South Carolina over everybody. But before we get into the rankings and look at what teams are bringing back next year, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. And join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Now, we mentioned South Carolina is on the top of this list. Looking at the top 10, South Carolina's number 1, Southern California, USC number 2, Texas at 3, UConn at 4, Notre Dame at 5, LSU at 6, UCLA at 7, NC State at 8, Iowa State at 9, and then Duke rounding out the top 10. Now, South Carolina, we know what they're bringing back. They are absolutely loaded. In the front court, you got just a plethora of players, man, with bringing different skill sets. Of course, Ashlyn Watkins, who has a chance to be the National Player of the Year next year. Just an elite talent, elite athlete, elite shot blocker, and we were seeing that her offense is continuing to expand. She's getting consistent with that mid-range jumper, and once she expands that range, it's over with, because we know she can get it off the dribble. She's a specimen. Also, on the other side, you got Chloe Kitts, who's finesse. I've been seeing clips of her working on the handle a little bit more. If she continues to improve on that perimeter skills, watch out. We know she can shoot the basketball really well. She's tough in the paint, finishing among the trees. She loves contact, and she's got that dog in her. You got Sanaya Fagan, who's another big body, athletic, very skilled, runs the floor well, and is a monster on the glass. You bring in Joyce Edwards, who, for me personally, guys, I think she's a generational talent. She's literally capable of playing 1 through 5 with her skill set. She's 6'3", can guard all 5 positions. She can play in the post, where she's an elite finisher, has great hands, great footwork, and can finish through contact. She's skilled down there. But she also has the capability of bringing the ball up the court. She has great court vision, a gifted passer. She can shoot the 3. She can get it off the dribble. She's got a little wiggle to her game. She is going to bring a big wing to this lineup that we haven't really seen them have. Donna Staley is going to be able to put her anywhere on the court. And I think out of her, Adele Tack, and Madison McDaniel, she's obviously coming off that injury. I think Edwards has the best chance of making an immediate impact and potentially winning National Freshman of the Year. Of course, in the backcourt, Raven Johnson, the utility player, the Swiss Army knife, comes back, the leader in assists. Tahina Powell, who they brought over from the transfer portal, one of the best three-point shooters in the nation, gave the Gamecocks huge news when she told them she was coming back. You just have a loaded backcourt. You still have the freshman sensation, Malaysia Fulwiley, who is arguably the most exciting player, has a lot of Kyrie Irving to her game, elite handles, elite finisher, and the future is bright for her. So they have a nice mix of veterans coming back with also implementing some youth into that lineup as well. Tessa Johnson, who played sensational, her best basketball throughout the tournament, the SEC and the NCAA tournament, coming up big off the bench for the Gamecocks. And, we know what she can do. She can flat out shoot the basketball. She grew with confidence in every game. The Gamecocks are loaded, man. I know there's a lot of super teams being put together and a lot of very productive players being put on different rosters. But we've seen South Carolina build it from the ground up. They are a great team with great players. The chemistry is already there. And, hey, man, they the team to beat, hands down. But I do love what Coach Gottlieb and USC did in the transfer portal, landing Talia von Oelhoffen as well as Kiki Raven, two mega stars in the Pac-12 that they were very familiar with playing against. They add size, they add depth, they add scoring to replace some departures, some grad transfers that got up out of there in Forbes and Padilla. They just reload. They bring in the number 1 recruiting class. Kennedy Smith leading this group of freshmen coming in. They have some really good freshmen, 5-star recruits coming in to pad that backcourt, adding a little size as well. Then they bring back Juju Watkins, who's arguably the best player in the nation returning. You could argue between her and Paige Beckers, but Juju Watkins would have been the number 1 draft pick this year if she would have been able to be a one and done and declare. So you're bringing a lot of production back. A really nice core group. Riot Marshall's still there as well. Pairing her with Kiki, they're going to have a dominant front court, man. They're not going to get out-rebounded in many games. And they were a number 1 seed this year, surprisingly. Juju went crazy. And now you bring in this type of talent. This is the most talent that she's ever played with. I love the additions. I think they will fit right in. You have a 2025 potential number 1 draft pick. You have an all Pac-12 performer joining this group and the number 1 recruiting class. So I understand the hype. I know some people in the comments of my last video where I was ranking transfers and classes have already been kind of talking about how this is what we saw with LSU. This is what we expected from them. But this is a different type of lineup right here, man. I'm telling you right now, I think that they found pieces that really fit this system and that will benefit them and take them to the next level. And I think they are the number 2 team in the country. And number 3, Texas. We know what they did in the transfer portal, landing Layla Falia, who is just sensational. Kyla Alcrate, also another 6'6" player adding to this front court, because we know that they lost a lot of production in that front court, a lot of size to the transfer portal. But they bring back Holly, they bring back Madison Booker, who is a sensational freshman in her own right. You know what I'm saying? We saw them lose their starting guard, their star point guard, Rory Harmon, and Madison Booker took over as the lead playmaker for this group. So you add Falia, you add Madison Booker to that lineup. They're big, they're physical. Rory Harmon's coming back off of ACL. Having her back in this lineup, that leadership of an upperclassman, the assists, the shooting. She was shooting the ball lights out, y'all. So you look at players like that are coming back from Texas, and there's a lot to be excited about in Austin, man. They landed one of the best transfers in the nation that's going to up their scoring. I think they'll be better than last year, man. If they can stay healthy, I'm telling you, watch out for the Longhorns. I love what they did in the portal, and I'm a big fan of Madison Booker. I think she's got the best mid-range in the country, and losing Rory Harmon helped expedite her development and turning her into a bona fide superstar. So I think Texas making that move to the SEC is going to be very exciting to see what they get done down there, man. But Austin is rolling. And then we know UConn is bringing back a stellar talent, a group of talent as well. Paige Beckers was the first domino where we were like, okay, she comes back, they gonna be just fine. Beckers played the most efficient basketball we've seen in her career on both sides of the ball, blocking shots, getting steals, scoring the basketball at an all-time high, especially in the NCAA tournament. She played out of position. That's what I was impressed with, y'all. She played out of position majority of the year. They had her at the 4. She's a 1. And she held her own, grabbing rebounds, using her size, taking bigger players out to the perimeter, knocking down shots. We know she is the most efficient, most cerebral player in the nation. And the fact that she decided to come back when she could have easily been a top 5 pick in the WNBA draft lets you know that she's got some unfinished business. I'm excited to see AZ Fudd, Aubrey Griffin's coming back, Ali Zabel, Morgan Shelley, like these freshmen coming in. They got the number 1 player in the nation, Sarah Strong, joining this group. You get Ice Brady back, Jana El-Afi. Like, this group is loaded. KK Arnold, who had a really good freshman year, Ashlyn Shade. A lot of these freshmen that had to grow up quick. This will benefit them now because they've been battle tested and they've played on some of the biggest stages in women's college basketball. So I'm very excited to see the development of this UConn team. The key for this group, what we saw destroy their lineup this year, losing over half their group to season-ending injuries. is the health. Can they keep these players healthy? The strength and conditioning team has their work cut out for them. The athletic trainers have their work cut out for them. But if UConn is completely healthy, they're absolutely a top 4 team in the nation. Notre Dame at 5, we know they had the sensational freshman Hannah Hidalgo, who won ACC Player of the Year, was incredible scoring in the basketball, led the league in steals as well, led the nation in steals, I should say. And without All-American guard Olivia Miles, they handed the keys to Hannah Hidalgo, and she never let up, man. They had the upperclassmen, Sonia Citron, Maddie Westbelt, like their big 3, but now they bring in some size in the recruiting portal, or the recruiting ranks, the recruiting trail. They bring in a big that's very talented and a 5-star. They bring back Hannah Hidalgo, but I think the biggest piece for this group will be having Olivia Miles back, man. You add her into this group, who, I mean, she's an All-American. She's sensational. She can play either guard spot. She can score it. She's a tough defender. She's a really good playmaker. You add that into this group with Hannah Hidalgo? They get KK Bransford back out of the transfer portal. Notre Dame is my dark horse next year to really make the national championship, man. They're going to have more talent than just about anybody. I love Westbeld and what she did with this team this year, becoming that third option, becoming that number 1 post option, but can still shoot the basketball as well. Notre Dame, Coach Ivy's going to have these ladies rocking, man. They won the ACC tournament, and I think, will have a special group next year. They already were really talented, but you bring a player of Olivia Miles' stature back into this lineup, and that absolutely pushes this team over the hump to the next level. I think they got to be the favorites to win the ACC next year, and I'm really excited to see Hidalgo in year 2 playing next to Olivia Miles, man. Like, those two are going to be a dominant force. They could have the best backcourt ranking in South Bend, man. Like, this group is going to be special. I'm telling y'all, when Olivia Miles gets back, oh my goodness. And we saw her practicing, getting active. Some people was thinking she might make a jump and make a debut in the NCAA tournament. They kept her on the bench, kept her out. She missed the entire season, but I think she will come back with a vengeance next year. And her and Hidalgo have already built that chemistry. Hidalgo is really excited about playing with Miles. So I'm very excited to see this group get it in next season. We know what LSU brings back. Of course, they bring back the star sophomore, who'll be a junior, Flau'jae Johnson, who was just the best player in the postseason for this group. Defensive-wise, she's taking on the best matchup, locking down any perimeter threat. I really felt like she should be the one to guard Caitlin Clark in that matchup. And it could have went different, but we're not here to talk about woulda, coulda, shouldas, because that's here nor there. But Flau'jae, Anissa Morrow, Michaela Williams is a huge big 3. I mean, you're talking about 3 of the best players in the nation at their position. So they will be in the running. They have Del Rosario, who I think they need to take that next step, man, to get to that level that they need her to be a force on the inside for both sides of the basketball. She's 6'6". Like, she's got the size. She's got the physical tools, man. Now something's got to click. It's all got to come together. She needs a switch to flip for her to bring her to that next level. Of course, you bring back Laster Poa, who was a steady presence at that point guard position, led the team in charges taken, blue player that does a little bit of everything, and they added 3 good pieces to that backcourt and through the transfer portal as well. They brought in Cheyenne Day Wilson from Miami, Kaylin Gilbert for Arizona, who was a big-time scorer, and Miracle Shepherd from Mississippi State, a rival SEC school. I love the depth. I think these 3 players will provide better defense than they saw last year from the likes of Haley Van Lith. They provide scoring and experience, and most importantly, depth. Now, I do think they got to bring in some bigs. They bring in Jada Richards as well, the 4-star freshman point guard, but they gotta bring in some more bigs, man. Who's gonna play next to Anissa Morrow? That's the big question for LSU. But I think they brought in enough talent to compete with the nation's best. Will they land another big to really complete this roster? Could it be a Janiyah Barker? I don't know. Like, they need another big, though, for sure, because I'm not sure Del Rosario is ready to take on that lead 5 role and take on those minutes as a starter. So we'll see. But I like what LSU did. We know Kim Mulkey is fiery. She's going to have this group ready. They're 2 years removed from the national championship, so you can't sleep on them too much. But I love the core they brought back. Flage, Michaela Williams, Anissa Morrow, they build around them. They're going to be just fine. UCLA made a big splash in the portal, bringing in Tamia Gardner, the forward out of Oregon State. Averaged 11 points and 7 rebounds. This was huge. You got Lauren Betts with this group. You got Kiki Rice. You got London Johnson. You got Charisma Osborne. Like, this team is absolutely loaded. I feel like they underachieved a little bit in the tournament. You know, they were the 2 seed in the group of death, and they saw their season cut short early. But I love this group. I think Kiki Rice is one of the most complete point guards in the nation. They have shooters. They bring in a vet in Gardner who's played 2 years at Oregon State. Lauren Betts, you know, she was a little banged up in the tournament, but she's one of the best bigs in the nation. I think she's a player that could be in the running for National Player of the Year, averaging a double-double next season, just with her size, her skill, and her ability to just be effective on both sides of the basketball, and a capable passer out of the post, too. UCLA will be absolutely loaded. Gardner was a huge pickup for them. The rich get richer, and they get ready to start in a new conference as well. I'm excited to see UCLA next year. I think for the most part of the year, they had the most well-balanced team. It didn't matter who you took away from this group, whether it was Jaquez as well. Gabriella was really good with this group also. Coming off the bench, they have size, they have depth, they have athleticism, they have shooters, and they have playmakers. They have size, a lot of things that they have that a lot of other teams are trying to get right now. So I think UCLA will definitely be in the thick of things. The Bruins, hey man, they loaded. NC State, their biggest recruit coming in, Zam Jones, I think is going to be sensational. Adding her to Isaiah James as well as Sanaya Rivers in this backcourt. A true pass-first guard. I would like to see Rivers work on that jump shot, man, because that was like her only weakness. She couldn't shoot the 3 to save her life. Isaiah James made a huge jump just this season from last season, doubling her scoring load. We see they have a number 1 option. We see that they have really good guard play. We see River Baldwin, like we saw Mimi Collins, like they had some bigs that did some really good things as well. So I think State, you know, right behind Notre Dame, has to be in the running to win the ACC. You know what I'm saying? They made a Final Four run. They were really special this year. They overachieved. I feel like they caught a lot of teams off guard. Next year, the secret is out, though. Teams will be expecting with what they can bring. But I like the Wolfpack. I think they've got depth. They've got a lot of size, a lot of length that can bother teams. And they're one of those teams like UCLA that's just like a well-balanced oiled machine where if you take one player out, that's fine. Somebody else will step up. But I like the Wolfpack. I like what they're building. I like what they've continued to build. I like that they're locking down the state of North Carolina and keeping the best prospects in state. So the Wolfpack definitely should have something to say about how things pan out next season. We know Iowa State returns to 2 super sophomores in Addie Brown and Audie Crooks, 2 freshmen that really put them on the map this year. They did some great things in the transfer portal, adding some shooting, adding some vets, adding some scoring. But they will go as far as Crooks and Brown take them. I think they will be the number 1 team in Iowa next season for sure. And they had a lot of youth, man. You look at Jalen Bristow, as well as like Elisa Williams. Like they brought in a lot of a freshman and sophomore, Shantavia Dawkins, who were played big minutes this year, man. Ariana Jackson, Kelsey Jones. Like this group is just loaded with freshmen, and I think this freshman class was already special. But I think some of these players that we just talked about make that jump next year and lift them into a different category, man. But Iowa State, I think, is one of the sleepers. They overachieved this year. Crooks put up some big games. You know what I'm saying? Her weight was kind of like a worry at the beginning of the season. She got in better shape and continued to progress and play more minutes. So I love what Iowa State did in the portal. I think they added some quality pieces that improve and add depth and a little more firepower to this backcourt. So I think with this youth, you know, they're going to be around for a while. Rounding out our group, shout out to ACC, man. 3rd team on this list, Duke at number 10. They missed out on the Sarah Strong sweepstakes, but they bring in a talented group led by Toby Fournier. Couple McDonald's All-Americans coming in. It seemed like really what they were missing was size. They got to replace Kennedy Brown, who was the lead post player in this group. So I think the freshmen that they brought in will definitely be able to contribute immediately and bring some more size. They did miss out on Sarah Strong, but they bring back a lot of talent, y'all. Looking at their roster, man, Ashlyn Jackson was sensational for them this year, the sophomore guard. Jaden Donovan, a versatile defender who was guarding threes, fours, whatever they needed her to do. The star of this group, though, Reagan Richardson, the 5'11 junior, who really found her stride in the NCAA tournament and put up some huge numbers for this group. Taina Mayer, a solid point guard, transfer from Boston College, the steady leader in the backcourt. Just being able to be that coach on the floor and run this offense. I think Duke has a really chance. Like, what helped them this year was depth, man. Coach Carol Lawson played a lot of bodies. They played fast, and they were really, really good on the defensive side of the basketball. They've added a little bit more scoring. They've added some size, some versatility. They like to play fast, and I think they have the bigs to really run the floor and get a lot of points in transition. So I'm excited to see Duke as well, man. I think that they will have a really good group. They were actually one of my favorite teams to watch this year, to be honest with y'all, man. Just seeing how they played. Like, they locked up. They played fast. They attacked the cup. They had guards that were not afraid to take big shots and create for themselves. They bring back some youth, but they also got, like, Mayer, Richardson, Jackson, guys like that will come, or, you know what I'm saying, players like that will come back and really make a difference, that have been battle tested. But then they bring in some youth as well, some size. So I don't think that they will get out rebounded as many times as they did this past year. They will continue to force turnovers and continue to make things difficult for offenses to score on them, man. They had some big ranked wins. Virginia Tech was one of them, blew them out at home. Like, you know what I'm saying? They played South Carolina really tough. So I like Duke. I like their group. I think they're scrappy. I think they play hard. And I think that they're going to be a very special bunch next year. And one of the deepest teams in the nation. That was just the top 10 we were breaking down that I saw, though. Of course, there's some other teams that we're going to be interested in. You know what I'm saying? We got Lucy Olsen at Iowa. There's just a lot of movement that's going on. Maryland did some great things in the portal as well. But y'all hired your boy. Let me know. Deja Kelly, major news, announcing her return to North Carolina. Big news for them. So, hey, man, it's just a lot of news, a lot of roster shifts, and a lot of talent returning to college women's basketball. But y'all holler at your boy. Let me know how y'all feel about the situation. Who should we talk about? Who are the next 10 best teams in this lineup, in this rankings? Who did we miss, and what players are y'all most excited to see next season? Holler at your boy. Let me know how y'all feel. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.